We are live. Impact money in the morning, and we will
Good
be
morning,
getting to.
David. Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Texas. Good
Bruce.
morning, Louisiana. Thanks for joining on your
That's right.
TV on Smart Money Culture TV, as well as
Yes,
joining live around the world.
around the world.
Around the world, around the world. How are you, David?
Yes, doing well. The day after Valentine's Day, everything is peaceful, and we made it through. So having a nice time.
You survived. You survived another Valentine's Day. We had our
Yes.
Annie show, of course, last night. We had our Valentine's Day show. A lot of fun. The girls did great. One of the main characters, Grace, she ended up I don't know, she got sick or something, and so the choreographer stepped in and did her role. And man, we were all just so impressed, so impressed. I mean,
Yeah. Did she know what she was
I
doing?
guess she knew it pretty well, but yeah, I mean, to step into a role like that and just do it with no practice and stuff, we were it was pretty impressive.
That is the main role, huh, Annie?
Well, it wasn't Annie. It was Grace. So Grace though is
Grace. Okay.
Uh, Warbucks's
Girlfriend,
secretary. Who's
secretary.
kind of the girlfriend, I guess, or something. I'm not sure.
That
Um,
role happens all too often.
ha 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 ha. Well, now you got to be careful. Back in the day, I think you could really kind of get away with it a little bit more. Now you got to be worried about all kinds of stuff. You know.
Well, let's not go down any roads we don't want to.
So markets are flying, and hold on here. Okay, amazing. Hold on a second here. I'm getting messages from our friend.
Uh huh.
Yeah, 3-4. That's fine.
They would continue to pump after Valentine's Day. I mean, I appreciate the pump before, but
Yeah. Um. Well, it's we have a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of political things going on, and of course that goes into you have of course the ETFs and everything else. So that's a lot goes into that, and then you have of course the dollar. Who I think that the inflation is going to run away, and that's right. And so if the dollar inflation goes to the roof, then the stuff like Bitcoin and other commodities go up. That's the way it works, and so that's why you want to be able to hedge your money, and that's why one of the reasons that we tell you should get diversify and not have everything sitting in U.S. dollars, because if they're going to inflate it, then you don't want to be inflated along with it. So, core CPI numbers came out, of course, a couple of days ago, and they're saying that the core inflation rate is 3%. That I don't know exactly how they put all that together. The real inflation that you feel is more 10 to 20 or more percent. You have the different. Of course, your car insurance is up 20%. Stakes are up 10%. All these things across the board are up a lot, and
right.
that's that's how they put that together. So 3% is probably the lowest number they could possibly come up with. So that's going to be pretty high. You don't want to be losing that money. We're not financial advisors, but of course, crypto, Bitcoin is flying. It is really flying, and I think gold and these other ones also are going to continue that trend. I put out some messages here on my X. I'm just going to run over that real quick as we lead into stuff here. Oh, Russia, yeah. Let's start a little bit far further down here. So we have Asian markets are up pretty much across the board. Now you had you had Japan officially declare a recession yesterday, and kind of all eyes were on the Bank of Japan. How are they going to handle it? The Bank of Japan already came out and said that they are not raising interest rates or doing anything like that. So I don't think they're going to do much. I think that they're going to just kind of play along and hope for the best. That's where I want it. So it'll be interesting though to see how that plays out. Crude, I said crude was up, didn't I? But it's actually down slightly. Oops, sorry about that, guys. On my post there, I meant down a little bit. Bitcoin though is flying. I was so excited about the price of Bitcoin being so high and the other cryptos being so high that I just thought everything was up. And I saw, of course, the stocks were up. The Dow futures were up slightly as well. But you can see that trading at 52,256. That was a few minutes ago. Solana up about 1%, trading at 116. Let's see here. We got XRP on the move. Now XRP with all this major moves, all these major moves with Bitcoin flying, going up 10, 20%, Solana moving up 10 to 20, 30%. XRP sat there. And that's what XRP does. It sits there for a while, and then boom, it moves. 4% move is not a huge move, but that's a pretty big move. It's a big move. 4.2% up, 4.2% XRP. Everybody there sitting there waiting for it to go back up to 90. It's rocketed up to 90 a little bit earlier. End of the year,
70.
What's that?
At least 70 where they open it up on Coinbase and places like that.
Yeah, at least 70. Yeah, that was well, these guys are professionals. And the XRP, the guys that they have trading XRP, these people are professionals. Big time professional traders. They really know how to get money out of retail traders and other types of traders and then use it. So they'll push the price, and then as everybody's buying, they'll sell, and then they'll wait, and they might even go further down and everything. And that's how they roll. Very, very professionally run trading of XRP. That's how they do it. And massive amount of liquidity in that. Massive amount of liquidity in that coin. Played that yesterday, but the politics get you so wrapped up. It's almost like, I'll go back to that. Gold futures are up slightly, $2,008, trading at $2,008. Gold right there. Make sure to get some, join our club. We're about launching. I think we're launching now very shortly at Cost Metals, at costmetals.club in order to sign up there. I see some people have signed up off the show. So thanks for signing up. I'll be circling around with everybody, of course, as we go into launch. We've got gold, silver, palladium, platinum at cost. Silver futures up about a little over 1%, trading at 22.65. And then let me just see here if all right. Okay. Let me run over some of the other stuff we have here. The Kremlin responds and says the nuke story is a trick. I said, do you trust our government or Russia? Sad state, sad question, really. But yeah, I mean, I was saying yesterday that this whole nuke story, nukes in space. I mean, here's the thing. Russia has more nukes than any other country in the world. I'm sure they already have nukes in space. So it's all kind of like the boogeyman. I feel like they're just trying to get their 95 billion through. Here we need to send 100 billion out to save everybody. Of course, there's bombs flying over there. Israel continues to bomb Lebanon. We're bombing Yemen. Everybody's bombing each other. Really must be a horrible way to go.
Yeah, you're not lying.
Russia, of course, bombing Ukraine. Ukraine bombed one of their boats or another warship, sank another warship yesterday. This is the so-called, I said, the so-called U.S. Customs and Border Protection says they registered 9,155,458 people who entered the United States illegally. This does not include people who stuck in and didn't register for benefits. And let me just say that, let me clarify that real quick. There's only one reason to register, and that's to claim benefits.
Yeah.
There's no other reason to register.
It's not to pay taxes.
It's not to pay taxes. It's not to pay any type of fees. It's not to go have a court date. It's not anything else. The only reason to register is to get a paycheck.
Yeah, for themselves. Also, you're registering for the people that want you to register and take advantage of your number.
Well, of course, we know the central bank issues a bond for everybody that comes in, so they do that as well. It's very clear. I mean, in New York and in California and lots of other places, that anybody can pretty much vote as long as you're here. There's no, I don't know really. In some places, they've explicitly made it legal to vote, even if you're here illegally. And but I mean, here's the thing: it basically is just crossing the border illegally. And then once you're here and you register and you're getting benefits, I mean, you're not really here illegally anymore. You're here.
Yeah.
But anyway, almost 10 million people have entered illegally that have registered since Biden took office, since 2021. There's the numbers right there. And then I would venture to say it's double the amount of people that didn't register. But that's anecdotal, as my doctor would tell me. It's anecdotal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to cut that in half and say it's only 5 million that haven't registered, okay, fine. You're right around my number, 15 million, which is what I've been saying. Entered. This is all the places that we bombed. I played that yesterday. Lots of places bombing everybody. It's kind of sad. All right, that's a little bit of what's going on in the world. We have, let me just pull up CoinGecko. Of course, as you guys know, Global Boost, we're Global Boost Media. We're on Smart Money Culture TV. So I had a good conversation with Fly yesterday. We are adding a show. My wife loves that. Adding a show. What, you didn't learn your lesson? No, I'm kidding. She didn't say that. But something like that. Adding a show. We're adding a show in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. So we're now going to have 3 shows a day. We're going to be on your TV in Texas and Louisiana about every 5 or 6 hours or so. So that's going to be fun. We'll have an evening show as well. Fly has put together, it sounds like he's put together some big deals. I told him, whatever you need me to do, Fly. If you need me to fly down there, let's bring it in. Let's close the deals. I can tell you that our Impact Money show and our Porter Brothers show has been instrumental in having the stuff put together that he's talking to these guys with, and they're talking big numbers. They're talking about we're reaching however many million that we're reaching right now. They're talking about, I think I told you yesterday, they're talking about 6xing that number. So that'd be huge for everybody. And of course, then we go on recruitment mode too, and we start really building out the different shows and everything like that. So, Here from the beginning, right? Pushing it forward, always going live. It's one thing to record the stuff, right? It's one thing to record, and then it's another thing to do it to do it live. Live is different, right? Live is live.
Yeah, it's true. And also, as far as reaching more people and reaching more businesses, and if you have a amazing business concept, and we can talk about it live on the show.
That's right. You can talk about it live on the show. Okay, Matt had me sweating there for a minute. He left the backstage. He left the backstage area. We are coming off of commercials here in about a minute. Let me just look here, but we can bring on Matt. We can. I want to start. We'll start the report here though, as we go. Sir, wrong one. Sir Matt the Great, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you. Well, these markets are flying. You know the best thing about the markets flying? Everybody has more money.
You're making lots of money.
Yeah, everybody has more money. You know, there's more money to fly around. Of course, we have more money. The companies have more money to push around, to advertise, to do different things, and you know, with everything going on in the world, at least we have that. The markets are flying. The markets are flying. Although you do want to be careful because these things can turn very quickly. We are back. We're back on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana. Thanks for joining in. We have here with us Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon. He's with Eve.io. Sir Matt, I know we have a great show planned here.
We have. I'm just going to share my screen because I think it's a very interesting. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is looking at the dollar index. So I've been looking at the dollar index recently, and I've been talking on recent shows about how the dollar has been trending higher recently. But I just wanted to go back and take a look at really where the dollar's been going from when I started trading the stock market, which was back in early 1980s. And there was actually a mega stock market rally that began around 1982. And this was following a long stagflation era from the early 70s all the way through. And it was really bad. I mean, there's very high inflation and stagnant growth. And that's what they call stagflation. And the US, the Fed, and the people who manage the economy have managed to avoid stagflation all this time since that terrible situation in the 70s, where it really was tough for people because, you know, there's so many jobless people at the time. Inflation was sky high, prices going through the roof, and you know it was just a dire situation. So interest rates were much higher in those days as they tried to grapple with this high inflation that they had at the time, and they think they've got it tamed at the moment, and hopefully they have. But this was what's interesting is this chart is actually the dollar index. And what I found interesting was I started charting, just putting on various crises and big events, stock market events that happened over the years. And it's really interesting. They always coincide with a top or a bottom in the dollar index. So, you know, one is leading the other, but they're coinciding together. I just think it's amazing. What we will do towards the end of this is look at where we think the dollar is going at the moment. So we'll expand the chart and just focus on the current time frame, starting from when Bitcoin came into existence. So, for example, here we have the 1987 crash, Black Monday, and we remember all those days, Black Monday, Black Tuesday, and so on. So this was the 1987 crash, where we had basically, it was very close to a low in the dollar. And the dollar had been falling for quite a long time. And the stock market crash came at a low point in the dollar. And in fact, the Fed, as soon as that 87 crash happened, and it was basically a very fast event, you know, they call it Black Monday, the stock market fell about 10% the week before Black Monday, and then on Black Monday it absolutely plummeted. And the Fed jumped in straight away and lowered rates to try to stimulate things. And that's why I think we saw the dollar fall quite sharply. And these don't look big, but this is a long time frame. Remember, I'm looking back from the early 1980s right up until now. So you're talking, almost 50 years. So that was the move we saw then. So the stock market crash 87 happened really after a long downtrend of the US dollar. And then we got the dollar pumping up a little bit. And the Fed then reduced interest rates. And we can see the sort of time frame here in 1989, somewhere around 1989, the Fed reduced interest rates from 10% at the time. Now, we're not used to this.
10%, very high, huh?
Yeah. And interestingly, when they lowered rates, they started reducing rates, then we saw dollar index falling. Yep. And then then they started raising rates again. And then we saw the all-time high on interest rates in the US of 19 to 20%. That was, can you imagine interest rates, 19 to 20%? I mean, that was,
no.
That was to deal with inflation.
What year was that?
That was 1991.
Interesting. So I think the housing, we had that. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, not that long ago.
No, I was around, kicking, having a good time, raising heck.
So then they started lowering rates, and then we had Black Wednesday, which isn't so much a worldwide thing. That was more UK. That was when the UK fell out of the exchange rate mechanism. But funnily enough, I mean, it was a big event, and the US dollar actually turned virtually on the bottom when that event happened. It's just amazing how these things coincide. And I could actually look for events on all of the ups and downs, but I can't fit many more on the chart, to be honest. But this, when the real stock market bull run began, the bull run that came before the 2000 crash. So that began in about 1995. And the bull run, strangely, coincided with a rise in the US dollar. So it's not always when the US dollar is rising that the market goes down. It's not always the case. So we had this massive bull run, which took us right up to the dot-com crash. And it happened between about 2000 and 2002. The crash was a sort of long drawn out thing. And they'd lowered interest rates then down to 1.5%. So from that 20% just a few years before, 10 years later, it's now 1.5%. And that was obviously following this dot-com bust. They're trying to stimulate the economy, so interest rates came right down. And they did stimulate the economy. And we, again, got a really massive rally all the way through until 2008. And we all know what happened in 2008, the financial crash, the world financial crisis of 2008. And that was the time when Bitcoin was born. And at that time, the interest rate was 5.25%, pretty much what it is today. So just quite interesting to see, where things are. But it's just, again, just to refocus, these things all tend to happen pretty much when the dollar is on a major turning point. So the next major turning point, the actual stock market bottom, came right here, at another turning point in the dollar, funnily enough. And that's when they reduced interest rates to that 0.25% and started the QE. So
what year was this?
This was 2008, the end of 2008, beginning of 2009.
And then they kept these low rates for quite a while.
Yeah, and that just shows dollar index is a basket of currencies. And so, it may be that dollar is printing, but don't forget the rest of the world we're printing. So it's all a relative game, basically. You're pricing dollar against other assets. And so, yeah, you can't really look at this in isolation from other currencies. But interestingly, as I say, 0.25% there, that was the stock market bottom. And that's when they lowered interest rates to rock bottom. In fact, effectively negative interest rates with the QE that they had. So effectively, they were paying people to deposit money.
Right.
That was a really weird situation. And Japan began this back in 1991 to experiment with QE. And it wasn't until this time, but in 2009, basically, America started with it. And that, as I say,
we seem to use Japan as a testing place. Seems like to me.
Well, Japan were in a difficult situation. They've been in stagflation for many, many years, much longer. A more recent episode of stagflation than the US, which the US and the rest of the world, including Japan, but Japan was hardly a very minor economy back then. But that stagflation for the main part of the world, particularly the US, was in the 70s, from the early 70s till about 1980ish, in 1982. But this Japanese stagflation carried on much longer. And so they were desperate to try to stimulate the economy. And that's why they did. Maybe it was a test case, but I guess it was a test case because it kind of worked for Japan, although it didn't really work as well as they wanted. But anyway, Japan's on a reasonably steady footing and they've worked their way out. But as you say, they've fallen back into recession right now. And they're not going to lower rates for the time being. They're going to continue to manage the. They're
not going to raise. They're not going to raise rates. I think they're very low.
Yeah. They're not going to raise rates, and they're just manipulating the yield curve to try to. They were trying to avoid recession, but obviously they've fallen into recession now. So different countries and central banks do manage things in different ways, and that's the way Japan are trying to do things. I do think that the US will. I mean, the problem is we have actually got this. Inflation is really sticky. They say, oh, it's not bad. It didn't come out much worse than expected, around the 3%, 3.1% mark. But that's still 50% more than the 2%. More than 50%.
It's a lot. It's a lot because that number 3%. It's not what we feel. What we feel is that 10 to 20%. I mean, it's very obvious. At least it's like at least.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, you mentioned car insurance. Some of these things that they don't factor in necessarily to the inflation figures, and they're the things that we have to pay day by day, week by week, year by year, whatever. So that's what we feel, and that's where we feel the money missing from our pockets. The prices of everything else going up. So that was the. I might just expand this chart out a little bit. Very easily done.
Great.
Just so we can focus on the last little bit. And this last little bit really focuses on the life of Bitcoin. So, this was the birth of Bitcoin back here. And as I say, when we had the stock market crash, that was when Bitcoin was born effectively. And the stock market bottom was here, which coincided with that the dollar turn there. And what's really interesting is I wanted to find out where we're likely to go for the dollar in the future. And I looked at various wave counts and I looked at this, examined this over multiple time frames. And this basically is what's called a double zigzag correction. So basically, just to quickly go over it, from the beginning here of the count, this is the low point on this chart. We have an A wave up, which is actually in 5 waves itself. You just about see wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Give me the A wave. Then the B wave is a 3-wave move overlapping A, B, C, B wave. And then we have a C wave, which takes us to W, which is again 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4, and 5. That's the W wave. So we have A, B, W to here. And then we had another A, B, C correction down. And then we're working on the final A, B, C to take us to the Y wave. That should be the end of this dollar move. And at the end of this dollar move, which should actually be challenge this point here, which again, if we go back a little bit, is a very important pivot for the US dollar right back in 2002 after the financial crisis. That was a pivot for the dollar. It's a really, really key area. And it's just quite interesting that it fits right on the resistance line that we see on the US dollar, right back from 2008 to net to projected just into the future, but with these many, many touch points here. So it's a really important area there. And just focusing on what we, again, with dollar highs and lows, stock market bottom here, basically BTC, this is when it was 864 dollars per Bitcoin back in, that was only 2017, not that long ago. And that again coincided with a high in the dollar. And then the dollar started to fall. And that's when we saw Bitcoin, whilst the dollar was falling, Bitcoin exploded to 20K. And then basically Bitcoin started to fall away and we had the COVID crisis, which smashed Bitcoin all the way back down to 3,850. Again, a dollar turning point. And then we see dollar turning down again. And we saw the spike low on Bitcoin, and the spike low happened in June 2021, again coinciding with the low on dollar index. And just very shortly after that, it's quite amazing, that spike low that happened with the bottom of the dollar index was just a matter of 5 months before the all-time high for Bitcoin. So from 28,600 to 69,005, it was just this very short period here, right at the bottom in dollar index here. And then we saw dollar index climbing, and it climbed all the way up to the FTX crisis, where Bitcoin bottomed at 15.5. And then from that 15.5, we've seen dollar index falling, and we've seen the inverse, Bitcoin rising. While dollar index falls, Bitcoin's rising. Now that completed, so the Y wave will be made up of an A, a B, and a C wave. And so even within the B wave, it's got an A, B, C. So we've already completed the first A wave down. We're working on the B wave. So this is why the dollar is a bit choppy at the moment, a bit up and down, no certainty of where it's going. But we should complete a B wave very soon. And then following that, we should fall again to complete the bigger B wave. Now that's quite important, because if we are going to fall further lower on dollar index, it's highly likely we'll get that inverse move on Bitcoin, which we're already seeing and beginning to see. Bitcoin could rise quite likely and quite probably to good all-time highs. So when the dollar falls here, and we're looking, according to this, at targets somewhere around the 97, 98 area, most probably, the dollar index. Then following that, I'm expecting some kind of crisis to then start dollar rising substantially to this point that we identified, which is a previous pivot point, and it's the chart top resistance here. And that is about 120, 121 on dollar index. That will be accompanying some kind of financial crisis in the world where the dollar is rallying massively. And, you know, we can speculate, maybe it is an eruption in the Middle East of tensions there. But following that, this will complete the correction, WXY correction. Following that, the dollar index should then fall massively to well below these levels. So that would mean, well, we don't know quite what it means. All we do mean is, in financial terms, is it's a collapse of the dollar. So we don't know, again, what will cause that, whether it's CBDCs, whatever it might be. But we do know that whenever there's a major turn in the dollar, it coincides with a major financial event, like stock market crashes, like major turning points in Bitcoin prices, various things like that. So I just think that's really interesting to understand. I mean, who would know that the FTX crisis would coincide precisely with a peak in the dollar? So it was actually a bigger event. It was a bigger event than just the FTX crisis. Something bigger is going on with this dollar.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the COVID crisis, again, it actually just precisely was on a peak in the dollar, a B wave peak in the dollar, and we got a spike there. That was the COVID crisis. So, you could say the dollar's reacting to these things, but you can actually track the dollar and project the dollar where it's going to go, and you can actually you can position in advance for these things. Yes, this is long-term positioning, but you can position and you can make profit looking at these long-term moves. So I think that's really interesting. And just finally, I thought it might be worth just having another quick look at this guy. He's, let me just see, this guy here. So again, I hope you can see that. It's on the Learn How to Trade course that we've been looking at. So I did tell you that there's going to be a psychology element to it, or a market, sort of market mindset. It's very, very important for traders, for manual traders in particular, but even any traders. If you want to manage your emotions, this guy, Steve, is an internationally renowned mindset specialist. He's trained Olympic athletes, top CEOs and people around the world. He's got massive, 25 years worth of experience. And he's not just telling you, oh, you need to do this, that, and the other. He's actually teaching you techniques that you can learn how to manage your emotions properly, how to control your emotions to make you a better trader. And he's very well known. Again, he's coached UFC fighters, Ironman athletes, etc., etc., even government leaders. So this guy we've got on a training course. He's running the within the Learn How to Trade training course, and he's running the mindset part of it, the psychology part of it. So we mentioned, and it is amazing. We've also got AI within it. We've seen the pricing of it, and thank you for those people who've already engaged. It's amazing response that we're getting, so thank you for that. And again, people can just start with a beginner package, and it's learnhowtotrade.club. The promo code is TradeSmart10. That gives you a 10% discount. It's been organized through Impact Money, through Bruce and David with Impact Money. So great opportunities. But it's just good to see again. I'm pleased that we managed to focus on the big picture once again today, just to look at where we are with the market. And fantastic day, isn't it, on cryptos?
Oh gosh, I mean, it is just flying. Things are really moving. It's one of those, you get in these. Someone actually commented under my post, that a few months ago, it felt like it could never go up. It was just stuck. And then now it feels like it just can't go down. And that is the way the markets, that's how they get.
It is how they get. And that's really why psychology is so important. So as Warren Buffett always said, buy when there's blood in the streets and don't be greedy, sell when there's greed, etc. And that's exactly what we're talking about. People get frightened, fearful when the markets are down for a prolonged period of time, and they get fearful and think, we can't see it going up. And that's really the psychology that you have to master to be a successful trader. And again, when things are absolutely rocketing and everybody is so euphoric and saying the markets can't go down, that's the time to start thinking again. And I do think that we probably have a little bit higher to go in this B wave. That might tell us just maybe there's a short-term pullback due on the market soon. I've been out of the market, but not altogether out. I've still got some crypto assets, but in general, I cash my Bitcoin in. Even though it's been rocketing, I'm missing out on the gains, but I'm never afraid to miss out on gains as long as I've taken a profit. But if we do get a pullback, it will be an excellent opportunity to do more dollar cost averaging, buy in some more potentially for this move down on dollar index here, which could mean another major rally in crypto. Excuse me.
But, it seems like. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm busy coughing.
Yeah, well, it seems like even if even if they keep interest rates where they are, I don't think they'd raise them. But I have no idea really what this Fed really is going to do. But it seems like with all of the printing that they're doing, that the dollar the inflation is still going to go up, which would mean, at least in the, it would mean that commodities continue to rise.
We have said that, especially if we do see, the big problem is if you have inflation and you have stagnant growth, and that's what everybody's afraid of. That's what the Fed's afraid of, and that is what is potentially on the horizon again. And they will raise interest rates if they have to, if inflation gets out of control, because the only thing they can really manage then, they'll do what they can, and they've got some more tools, more powerful tools now to try to stimulate the economy in some ways, maybe in a more targeted way. But they will want to deal with inflation if inflation does take off. And if we do see an escalation in the Middle East, and that will spike oil prices, absolutely no doubt about it, it will spike oil prices dramatically. And that would cause basically a stagnation of growth and an inflation of oil prices and costs and so on. So that will put us in the situation of stagflation. So maybe that's some little time away before anything serious happens. I don't know, but that's the big potential elephant in the room, potential black swan that is brewing at the moment.
It sure is brewing. Oh man! And I just as I was scrolling over, and I know you got to run, but Ukraine and Israel, Ukraine and Russia are bombing the mess out of each other as well. I just, of course, Russia responding quite heavily as they do to their warship being sank. And then I think Ukraine just had a missile too, killed
Yeah,
a few
these things can change, as you said, very, very quickly, almost on a sixpence or a penny or whatever you like to say.
Yep.
You know, the stock market crash of 1987 happened just really suddenly, overnight, virtually. Yes, a week before we got a 10% fall. Then on the Monday, we got a 25% fall in the markets in one day.
Yep.
These things happen overnight. The 2008 crisis, I made a lot of money. Interestingly, I made loads of money in the early 1980s. I lost it all in the 1987 crash. I was okay during the dot-com boom and bust. I didn't lose anything there. During 2008, I made loads of money because I was ready for it. And I've learned more and more as time goes on. And that's, again, part of experience and learning from past mistakes. And that's really, again, with the trading course, what I'm trying to do is hand over that 40 years worth of trading experience along with the latest trading techniques and instruments and psychology instruments that we can use to better your trading.
Awesome. Well, make sure to check out that, guys. LearnToTrade.club. Nice entry point there. You can start lower if you'd like, or just dive in there. Lots of stuff, and that does give you access to the EVE AI-powered ratings platform as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruce. I'm going to have to run. Got to run to a meeting, but thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, again, and look forward to tomorrow.
You're the man. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers. The great Mac Dixon charting his way forward.
Class
yeah,
right
I'm pretty excited about digging into the class. How about you?
Yeah, he's a class act, and that's a class program. And the guy that they have promoting it, that sounds pretty righteous as well.
Sounds pretty righteous. Well, it's always nice to have a third party come in. It's kind of like us bringing Matt in, right? Like we can tell you what's happening. We can tell you all the right things. But of course, we bring Matt in with the 20 or 30 more years of experience and a nice accent, right? And everything else. And then we third party, and it gives us more credibility. So it was interesting that he brought the guy in, because that guy is, I agree, he's a great asset to have on the course.
Yeah, Matt was in the game for Black Monday. That was pretty cool.
I mean, I've made it all and lost it all a couple times too, so I know exactly how it is. It's you have to, after you kind of shrug and you say, well, easy come, easy go, I guess. And that's how he is. But I'll tell you what, that's the great thing about crypto. It's what's so exciting about Bitcoin and these other cryptos is they move so much. And so when you have like a 20% move in the market, you can, if you have a leverage position on that, you are really flying. You're really flying. Of course, the leverage is tricky. You have to make sure that you have enough money to cover yourself and be ready to put yourself some stop losses and stuff like that. So you can also go to @CostBitcoin, and join KuCoin there. I am setting up another partnership with an exchange as we speak, because from what I understand, KuCoin they might have stopped KYCing Americans.
Yeah, they are excluding the Americans. They don't want to get the license for here.
It's expensive. It's not only expensive, but you get people all sniffing you up and down, right? You got our guys they really do a number on people. Now our @cost metals is just about to launch. @costmetals.com is what it is, the main site. But if you go to @costmetals.club, that forwards you there. And this is crypto is not for everybody. It should be, and I think everyone is, of course, gonna have some experience to it as it goes on. This is, of course, the crypto that we started years ago. Global Boost is similar to Bitcoin, but let me just type in here @costmetals.club. If you go to @costmetals.club, that forwards directly to. Oh wow, that is. We need to. That's just because I entered it that way. Sorry, but this is the main site here. It's pre-registration still going on. It's free to register. Go to @costmetals.com. Our referral link is clubs with an S clubs. Okay, you'll need a referral link in there, and you can buy gold, silver, palladium, all these types of things at cost.
Just wanna thank you. Oh, just wanna thank you. I wanna thank you for being mighty, mighty good to me. Been good to me.
I'm pretty excited for this. The atcostmetals.com.
I'd like to share a brief overview of the at-cost metals.
We don't need to do that right now. There is a you can buy, if you do want to do the affiliate part of it, you can do that too. But you should be getting gold and silver. You should be diversifying. Again, we're not financial advisors and all that stuff. But you should be diversifying, especially as we don't really know what's going to happen with the dollar. I can tell you this. In 100 years, your gold and silver is still going to be worth something, and your paper dollars are probably going to be worthless.
Yeah, it's true. We're not financial advisors, but we are monetary revolutionists.
We are monetary revolutionists. We've been working on this for over a decade. We've been involved. Bitcoin was $70. It was $70 when we got involved.
Yep. That was something else when it went to 400.
Remember that? 400. Oh, this is overpriced. Really funny. I mean, I look at it now, I think it's overpriced too. But, you know, it doesn't mean it's not going to go up. It doesn't mean it's not going to go up. It will probably, most likely go up. Now, it is high at the moment, so it's always scary to buy in when it's high like this. But if you don't mind riding around up or down, let's see here. Here we are, 52, 321. I mean, you know, it's going to go to 60 this week. No, I don't know. I wouldn't say this week. But it could. You got the big movers in here. Ethereum, everyone talking about Ethereum. Ethereum's up 15% on the week. Of course, Bitcoin is as well, up 16%. BNB 350, the slow mover, almost 4% on the day. That's not slow. But if you look at the weekly here, Solana up 14% on the week, up just slightly today. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. Doggy coin, the Doge coin up to over 3%. Doggy coin to $1. Probably. I don't know if it'll be now. I don't know if it'll be
if
this year or next year.
If Elon wants to wave his wand.
The buy button. Buy. Buy.
Keep buying
Keep
it all the
posting
way up. Highlight the entire sell side and click buy.
That's how he rolls, right? Highlight it and go. ICP down slightly today. No, that's not slightly. 3%. That's pretty high. That's almost 4%. All right, ICP is down today. One of my favorites there. When you start to see them pull back, though, of course, those are, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So it's a crazy market. We have, of course, what's going on in the world is just absolutely nuts. We have now, you know, let's see here. I just wanted to pull this up. Well, here's Tucker. He's He's shopping in Russia. Oh man, here's what this is. Here we go.
Putting in the car.
Oh boy.
I went from amused to legitimately angry. So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States.
Oh, looks like he's staying for a week.
We were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week, and we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought. Corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country. And that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.
They still
Radicalized. Oh, you better watch it, man. They're really gonna come after him.
Yeah.
Good old Tucker.
He might stay abroad for a while. Say that much.
He might stay abroad for a while. Yeah, I mean, you know, the truth is we pay. It's a, you know, if he did the same thing in Kiev, he would find it as well. As you know, you go grocery shopping there, it's same type of situation. It's much, much cheaper. Really, throughout Europe, I would say, but definitely
Southern Europe.
Southern Europe.
Yeah.
Portugal, cheap.
Mm-hmm.
In Portugal, everyone drinks wine all day, and you don't realize it until you get over there and taste the wine, and you figure out, well, shoot, man, I understand.
Yeah, that's your juice.
It's like so good, especially that white wine is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it does take the edge off, but you know you can have a smooth ride throughout the day.
Well,
nice.
And plus you get your siesta, you take your little nap.
Yeah, it's so sunny down in southern Portugal as well. You need that siesta.
And 12 noon is 5 o'clock in the U.S.
And Lisbon is fun. A nice city to hop around in. Pretty fun place.
Lisbon is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are beautiful. Europe's beautiful. I'm looking forward. I mean, the Annie plays. It's been a lot of fun, but I am looking forward to moving around a bit more. So we're gonna, if you are watching from different places, we're gonna bring, I think, more of the. We're gonna really focus on a lot of these emerging cryptos as well. Try to bring out some good nuggets. Keep an eye on our Ave.io platform as well. Bring some good nuggets. Sometimes you don't even need leverage. These things will move up 100x or 100%. You know, you put $5,000 on something and you have 10, and that's pretty nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's hit a 10xer soon.
I know, right? So those are nice.
The fun ones.
Those are the fun ones.
5, 10, 20% is fine, but
it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
But it's really, you're not doing anything until you X, right? You got to get some X's in there. So, well, guys, we're having a great time. We're going to be back on with the Porter Brothers Show. This is the Impact Money. I've continued it now, Impact Money in the morning. We kind of played around with the name of that a little bit, but Impact Money is the short term. Impact Money in the morning. We have the Porter Brothers Show in 5 hours there on your TV at 11 a.m. David and I will be back. We're going to recap a lot of what's going on in the world as well as the different markets. And we'll move on to that. We'll talk about a lot of the stuff going on there. And then, of course, we'll be adding, I think next week, we'll be adding our show in the evening time as well. So super excited about all that stuff. Thanks for joining in, guys. We really enjoy it.
Yes.
Talk soon.
Really love it. We love you. And we'll see you soon in 5 hours.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.